Hey, what's up? It's your man Big Jack, and welcome to the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. This is where we prove we are stronger together, that if each one would reach one, we can all grow and glow. And today started off a little bit, a beautiful day. I don't know, a little gray outside. The weather was not so sometimes you feel the way the weather delivers it. And I was like, I'm trying to get out that rut. So I'm so glad to be here because every time I come into here and see the people in the chat and see the guests on the stage, I'm super, super excited. So we got a wonderful guest today. Don't want to miss any seconds of having him up on the stage. And I got to get my man up here. But before we go there, we got we know we're doing the 90-day challenge. Where I'm going around the Grow and Glow challenge, and we're going around and visiting other people's channels, watching one of their long form videos. So you watch three channels, go to three channels, watch three long form videos, leave a comment, and hit that hashtag Grow and Glow together. And that's all you have to do to be part of this challenge. So I think it's day 2 or day 3. It's hard to say because I've been checking them out, but I think we're in day 2 or maybe day 3. Yes, day 3. Day 3, and I'm excited. So I'll post later today on what channels I visited, and they were added to the wheel. So let's get my man up here so we can get this show going. Let's go. Let's get Walt Talks up on the stage. My man, what's up?
My man, what's happening, Big Jack? How you doing,
Oh
sir?
man, it's rough out here today. I'm
Hey,
telling
man,
you.
look, let me explain this to you, man. It's only rough if you can't handle it, man. But you're online, we on time, everything is good. Everything else is
Right.
just a life experience, man. Some people pay big money for these life experiences, man.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah. Well,
there it is. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Well, look. See, that's why you on the stage, man. That's why we bring
I
you out here because
mean,
you always dropping that knowledge that makes me feel better
I'm
about
just
this
saying,
life.
a guy that used to run a football with 11 guys chasing him was all of a sudden he had a rough day because the internet jacked up. Come on, man. Cut it out.
Nah. You look. You're absolutely correct. It's funny just how things work because
That's
you're
life,
thinking,
man.
and it's like you get yourself out here. You try to get yourself prepared, and then just as fast as it kicks off, things go to the south quick. But hey,
Yeah.
it's all good. I mean, I think a couple of weeks ago you was having the same situation,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
we're
yeah.
just passing it. It's
Hey
like a
man,
relay race.
the universe has a sense of humor, man. So there
Oh
it
yeah,
is, you
yeah,
know.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
So
I'm part of it
and,
today. So
and it's my turn to probably be tomorrow, maybe later on tonight. Who knows, man?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
all good. It's all good. So look, we got a great guest for the
Yes,
show
sir.
today. I'm looking forward to getting them up on the stage. And without any further ado, let's get him up on the stage. So
All right.
let's bring him up. Kurt Ashley, how you doing, sir?
I am doing awesome, gentlemen, and I'm honored to be on your guys' show with you guys.
Well, it's definitely a pleasure to have you here, and welcome to the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. Normally, we got all kinds of bells and whistles and everything for you, but because I'm having little glitches today, I can't give you all the bells and whistles. But when it's definitely good to have you here. So, before we even get started, Kurt, I want to ask you just to give us a brief description or a brief introduction of who you are.
Yeah, sure. It's Kurek Ashley. Obviously, I live in Australia, but you can tell by my accent that I'm not from Australia. I'm originally from Chicago. And I used to be an actor, did 38 movies in Hollywood, worked on over 500 films behind the camera. And now I'm a #1 international best-selling author of the book How Would Love
All right.
Respond, which I'm really honored to say it's being turned into a movie. And I'm a success coach. So I travel around the world and help people fulfill their dreams.
Oh wow, wow, wow. So, all right. So you are the first person to be on the Iron Sharpening Iron Show that was in Australia. So right now, and I can just tell you that you're the first person from, or I don't say from Australia, but that's in Australia. So how many hours are you ahead of us right now? I know we're 7 p.m. Eastern time in the United States. So what's your time?
It's 9 o'clock in the morning, a day ahead of you guys. So I'm on Thursday. You guys are on Wednesday. And the neat thing is, I live in your future, so I can
I was
guarantee you
about
you're
to
gonna have a
say.
great day tomorrow.
There you go.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, since you're in the future, you can throw us some of them lottery tickets or
Yeah. Can
lottery
we
numbers, so
get
we
those
can take
Powerball
care of it.
numbers out the way, Carrot?
Yeah,
Come
that
on,
that
buddy.
would change. That
Yeah.
would definitely change the game for us all for sure.
Yeah, and if I'm
Yeah,
gonna die here, I'm gonna fly home just so I have an extra day.
Oh,
yeah.
my
And
man.
that's I remember that from when I was in Japan. I remember getting on a plane before and landing in the United States before I actually took off from Japan. I was like, how did it? Yeah, so that's it's crazy how that can work. But so thank you for being. But I gotta ask because I see a lot of videos, and since you're in Australia, is it true about these giant spiders that I see in these videos? Is that a such thing, and where are they located?
Yes, well, the giant ones that you're seeing are called huntsman spiders, and they're like the size of your hand. You get them in the
Oh,
house. They're great for eating mosquitoes, and they don't bite you. The crazy thing though is if you look at them, you can actually see their eyes tracking you. You know, so it's kind of eerie, and you can hear their footprints as they're going across the wall. But those aren't the ones you have to worry about. The ones that here we have a thing called a funnel web, and the funnel web has fangs that they can literally put it through your fingernail, and you probably have about 45 minutes before it kills you. So, but we have deadly snakes, spiders. But the funny part is, growing up in Chicago, I'd much rather deal with a snake than a gang member. Snakes
no.
don't come after you. Spiders, I've never seen a funnel web in the wild. The only time I've seen them is at the zoo. So it's not as dangerous as most people think it is. I don't. And same with snakes. I have 14 acres. I live on a farm, and I don't really have any problems with snakes because I have a dog and a cat.
Okay.
No,
Oh wow.
no alligators, no alligators down there. I mean, of course, never been to
No, well,
Australia.
we don't have alligators. We have crocodiles.
I said
So
just alligators, crocodiles. I'm sorry. Yeah,
yeah, no,
I stand corrected.
crocodiles make alligators look small. They're big.
Crocodiles and kangaroos, right?
Yes, and wallabies and koalas. A friend of mine, his name's Brian. He was Steve Irwin's best friend, and he was on the
Wow.
boat with him when he died.
Hmm.
And Brian, at the 10-year anniversary of Steve Irwin's passing, went up to northern Queensland, and that's a state,
Hmm.
with Steve's dad, and came back and stopped by, and he's showing him these pictures. And they're jumping on like 30-foot long crocodiles. And I said, "Were you guys working?" And he goes, "No, no, we were just doing it for fun."
Did you wait a
Man,
minute? Did you say 30 feet?
30
30
feet.
feet.
Yeah.
30
Yeah,
feet.
Yeah,
yeah.
they get, because they're also protected. So now they're really
Right,
Right.
growing again.
right,
And
right.
so Steve, what he would do, and same with Brian, they would get them out of populated areas and then move them to places where they were safer. But he was that guy really walked his talk. He really was an environmentalist and
Wow.
bought
Mm,
all kinds of property here where I live on the Sunshine Coast
Hmm.
just to keep it for the wildlife.
right. Wow.
Wow. I couldn't
Yeah.
believe the way he passed, man. I mean, that was like a freak accident, man. I mean, all he's done to
Yeah.
pass with the barb of a stingray through the heart, right? That's just like wow.
Yeah, well, he even said that he thought when he's going to die, it's going to be in the ocean because that's where he felt uncomfortable. But
Uh,
the thing is, the stingrays, they pick up your frequency and they pick up your heartbeat, so it's targeted. But it did save a grandfather only a few months later, because the reason Steve died is he actually pulled the barb out. If he would have left it in there and waited until he got to the hospital, he probably would have lived. As he pulled it out, he said he made a mistake and then died quite quickly. But this grandfather, a stingray jumped in their boat as he was fishing with his grandkids, and it hit him in the heart. But he left it in there because of what happened to Steve
right,
Irwin, and he
right.
lived.
Mm,
It's almost what's that word? I'm gonna cauterize maybe. Just kind of stays there. Yeah, but yeah,
right.
like a
Yeah.
knife.
The
It's like
muscle.
a
Right.
knife. It's like a you fall on a fence post. Anything. Keep it in
You
until you
keep the
yeah,
impalement. Yeah. Mm,
Yeah.
yep.
and position it in place, bulky dressing, and get on to the hospital. Wow,
Yeah.
And
Wow.
wow.
his zoo is about 20 minutes from me. Steve
Okay,
Irwin Zoo. It's the
Here's
okay.
the
number
zoo.
one tourist attraction in Australia.
I'm
Oh
sure.
wow. Hmm.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. So that was one of my bucket list places to visit, and is
Yes.
Australia. And I always heard about the reef and all of that. So how close are you to the coral reef? The Great Coral Reef is what it's called, I believe.
The Great Barrier Reef. Yeah, I'm
Great
Great
Barrier
Barrier
Reef.
Reef.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm about 3 hours drive or an hour's flight
Okay.
to the bottom of it. If you go to Cairns, which is the more in northern Queensland, which is where most people would see the Great Barrier Reef, that's about an hour's flight for me.
Mm.
Wow.
Okay, wow. So now, Kirk, you said that you were a actor for several years. So, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I started when I was 12 years old in Chicago at Second City, the theater, and I started with Jim Belushi and George Wendt from Cheers. And then when I was 18 years old, I left for LA, and it took me 3 years to get my first job. But then I did 38 movies as an actor. I did stunts on the original Dukes of Hazzard TV show. Um, but John Travolta, who I became friends with, and James Woods, both said, Kurek, it's a technical business. And if you want to work, you better understand the technical side of it so that when you're in front of the camera, you can just be free to act. And so I got behind the camera, and I pretty much have done almost every department behind the camera. So I did over 500 films working behind the camera, and was the assistant to an award-winning writer and director for 12 years. And it turns out that he was best friends with Sylvester Stallone. He still is. They were roommates in college together. That's how I got to be friends with Sly, and Sly's been a great mentor of mine since I was 18 years old. And it just, I worked, I loved it. But in 1989, I was in a helicopter crash on a Chuck Norris film in the Philippines, and 5 of my friends died, and my best friend was on fire when he died in my arms. And it just kind of started changing my perspective about the industry, and do I really want to be in it anymore? And I still worked for a number of years after that, but then realized, I don't want to be famous, because, having friends like Stallone and Travolta, you see what fame is really like, and that it's always on. You don't just get to be famous when you want to. And that's not really the life that I wanted to live. And I thought, really what I want to do is what I've always kind of done. I just did it as a sideline, which is inspire people to live the best life you can, because it is short. And that's what the helicopter crash taught me, is at any moment it can all be taken away from you. So make this moment count. Make it the best day you've ever had.
Oh wow!
Wow.
I'm more intrigued. I'm intrigued about the whole story right now. But
Absolutely.
I'm looking at the acting, and you said getting behind the scenes, and then you said stuntman and other things. So, what part of that industry did you take to the most? Say before the helicopter, what part was you focusing more? You wanted to be on screen or behind scene? Which one was more for you?
Oh, well, I really loved, I wanted to be an actor, and I wanted to work and, love that and express myself that way. It actually turned out to be more fun, though, to be on the crew, because the crew has more camaraderie. An actor is really
Mm.
a prop that talks, and so when the actor's working, the crew is obviously off the set and quiet. But then when the crew's working, the actor is pretty much sent off set, because, well, first they're a danger and they're in the way. And so, there's this segregation, but the best celebrities that I've worked with, they're the ones who still bond with the crew, because they realize that the crew makes them look
Right,
good,
makes it look good, right?
and so then it was really cool. But because I did work both sides of the camera, the crews really loved me, because for them, I was like home team representing for them, and so when I was doing Delta Force 2 with Chuck, my best friend was the key grip. Don Marshall, the lighting director, Jeff Brewer, one of the stunt guys. I spent years working with these guys. So they were so proud of me that here I was, I just finished Lockup with Sylvester Stallone. Now I'm doing Delta Force 2 with Chuck Norris. So I was representing the crew, and they were very proud of me, and I love that. But now the funny thing is, my book is being turned into a Hollywood movie, and it's about the helicopter crash and the aftermath of all that. And they've asked me to write it and direct it. So the script's done. And I've never really directed before, but like anything else, is I step up to the plate, and I'm going to learn what I got to learn and get the crew around me that I got to have. And next year we start filming.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay. Wow. So was the helicopter crash part of the actual scene, or was it just going from place to place? I mean, were you in the middle of shooting when it happened?
Well, the funny thing about that is that I had been doing hairy stunts in the chopper all day long, all week long, actually. But that day I did about 15 flights. Every time I got in the helicopter and flew during shooting, I make an extra $400 hazard pay. So I'm just racking up the cash. You know,
Let's
you're
go.
loving
Let
it.
it
And
fly.
we were shooting at this palatial mansion on top of the rim of an extinct volcano in the Philippines, and it was the summer home for the Marcos family, and they actually built it for the Reagans when the Reagans were to come over. The house was never completely finished. In the movie, you see we pretty much blow it out of the foundation, and so all we had to do was go up 15 feet and shoot 2 lines of dialogue, and it was the end of the shooting day. It was end of the week. Here's a bunch of American boys with a lot of money in their pocket going nightlife, and then we're having the time of our lives, and the chopper sitting on the grass in this big field, and it goes up about 2 feet and it's hovering, and the cameraman shifts the camera where I'm not being photographed anymore, and I said, "Can you see me?" And he goes, "Nope." I could have stayed in, made the $400, but I'm like, I got 10 more weeks. I just stepped out. The other door gunner stepped out. Chopper goes up, drifts out over the edge of the mountain, and has a mechanical malfunction. The engine shuts off and nosedives and goes about 1,500 feet and hits the road. I was the first person to reach the chopper because I started running immediately. I could see what was going on. And, you start pulling bodies out. And my buddy Mike was the last one, still in the chopper when it burst into flames, and I still climbed in anyways and got him out, but he didn't make it.
Wow,
Man.
man. So yeah, you was I mean that close to being in that chopper with them. And yeah, that's it's fortunate for you, unfortunate for them, and then still traumatic for you because you're trying to rescue your friends out. And so was any, I guess, major actors in, or was this a more of a stunts scene? Was it any players involved?
Yes, well, there was well, Chuck wasn't there at that time. He was there during the day, but he had already gone to the hotel. And because it was, again, such a small insert shot, all they had to do is shoot 2 lines of dialogue and then literally come back down. That an actor named John P. Ryan, who you've seen him in probably 200 movies. He's very recognizable. And the unique thing about that is that, I was 27 years old, single, ladies, man, being single, being an actor, being me, didn't do anything inappropriate with women, but I'm single, so I'm me.
Yeah.
Well, John was a very religious man, which I didn't know. And that morning in the makeup trailer went off on me, how I'm a scumbag, how God hates me. And, when you're in makeup, you can't get up and leave because they got to shoot. So, you're like money. So
Mm,
you got to sit there, and I can't say anything to the man because he's one of the stars of the show, because then I'll get fired. So I got to take his abuse. And I got up out of the chair when I was finished, and I just said, "Sir, um, I would recommend that you don't read a book by its cover because you actually don't know who I am."
mm,
And so I walked out of the makeup trailer, and well, he was the first person I saved in the
mm,
helicopter, and when we got back to the States, the three guys who lived were at Cedar Sinai Hospital in California. And so one by one, I stopped in all their rooms, and I stopped in the John P. Ryan's room. And he said, and everybody calls me Rocky. It's like a nickname. And he said, "Hey, Rock, everybody says that you know who saved my life, but they said, I have to ask you. They won't tell me." And I said, "Yes, sir, I do." And he goes, "Well, who saved my life?" And I said, "The devil himself."
oh,
And
yeah.
he said, "You saved my life?" And I said, "Yes, sir." See, because even though I saw my friend, deeper in the chopper, my dad taught me integrity, and I can't step over you to get somebody else out.
Mm,
And that you got the first ride out of the chopper. And luckily I got you away from it before it burst into flames. And, God bless you. And he said, "How can I ever thank you?" And I said, "Don't read a book by its cover."
right. Well,
And that's the last time
yeah.
I saw him. And he went on for a number of years still working, and passed away a couple of years ago, but that was just from old age.
Mm. Yeah, that's just amazing right there. The that for you to go in there, like I say, and overlook whatever just happened, and yeah, look past that fault, past the anger, past the disrespect and all other things that he did, and still say, hey, you need to be saved, and pull him out of there. So that's great. That's great news right there. So now I'm still caught up on, I mean, the chopper. but some of the things is the parts. So I know you said the key grip. Now, and I've seen that a lot of times in the credits. I've never known what it was. So what is the key grip? What does that mean?
Yes, whenever you see key in front of a title, like you might see key makeup, key grip, that would mean the head of the department. Then the next in the foreman would be the best boy, right? You'll see that's next, and then would be the grips, which are the laborers or the actual worker ants. So key makeup means head of the department, and most of that terminology kind of came from the shipping industry, because you got to remember, in the early days of Hollywood, there was no crew members because there was no industry up until that point. And so for hanging rigs and lights and all that stuff, they used guys who worked on ships because they were used to doing that stuff. So gaffer is head of the lighting department. So you'll see DOP, director of photography. If we shoot without sound, if it's just there's no sound needed for the shot, it's called mid-out sound, MIT. And people go, mid-out sound? Where's that? Well, because it was a German director who used to say, instead of with, because he couldn't pronounce it properly, he'd say mid-out sound. And it became a term in Hollywood that we're shooting MIT. So it's just kind of funny is that where those terms got adopted from, but key just means head of the department.
No, yeah, thank you. So now, what is a gopher? I mean, is it just what it is, a gopher?
You're talking about a production assistant. So a production assistant is exactly that. Sometimes by certain people, they're referred to as peons, not just PAs. But, I did all those jobs. And what I did is I thought about, when I do that job, I'm going to be the most valuable guy on the set, because if I'm not making the coffee, well, the director's got to make his own. So I'm just as important as everybody else on the crew. And because I carried myself that way, and that would be called craft service. So you make the coffee, you pick up the cigarette butts, you put out a little food table. So there's cookies and lunch meats and stuff so that people can eat during the day, if they're hungry. But you are really the low guy on a totem pole. But I used to cut up and make sandwiches and cut up apples, because there's certain crew members, like the director, the cinematographer, the actors, they can't leave the set. So I would cut up and walk it in, and coffee and milk and sugar and stuff for the coffees. And they loved me. Well, because I became the most loved guy in the set, they used to move me up every movie after that to a higher level, until pretty soon I was running departments.
Oh, wow. Wow.
My dad taught me that. My dad always said is that when you get a job, whether it's the highest paying job or no paying job, you go in as if it's the highest paying job. And so when I worked on my dad's construction sites, he used to tell me that there is no nepotism. You're here to make me look good. And if you're not, you don't have a job. And my dad was really serious about that. And one time I pissed off his foreman, and I got screamed at. And I went into my dad's office and told him that Sylvester yelled at me. And my dad instantly went into, why are you pissing off my foreman? Right. So, I mean, but he taught me integrity, and still to this day, I show up everywhere and I give it everything I got, and I play at that level. And I'm very grateful that my dad installed that in me.
Wow. Okay. Now, sticking with some of this on the set and off the set, stuntman. How difficult is that of a job, or is it? I mean, I've seen TV shows or movies of, like, even Chuck Norris had one with. Was it Chuck Norris that had the American Stuntman? I think it was.
Oh,
I
he
thought that
might
was
have.
his. Yeah, yeah. But so is it difficult to do, or is it? Is it? I mean, you standing in for the main actor, so you're the stuntman. So how's that? How does that work?
I've doubled some actors, but also because I was an actor who could do stunts like Delta Force 2, that's what they hired me to do, is where I could play the character, but I could do my own action, where they wouldn't have to get somebody to double me. But stunt, like anything else, it's a profession. It's calculated. Everybody wants to go home. Nobody wants to go to the hospital. So you're a professional. It's well thought out. A great stunt coordinator is, like Dean Ferrandini, who is the stunt coordinator on Delta Force 2. He did Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. I mean, this guy was a big time guy. I worked with him many times, and he was super safe. Never put anybody's life at risk, because it's a job, and that people just have to understand that. It's just, walking down the street, you can get hurt. The funny part is I've never been hurt doing a stunt, but I have been hurt falling down the stairs in my dressing room.
Mm.
Where you're just not paying attention,
Right.
or you trip up the stairs and hit your knee or something. But never doing a stunt, I think, just because you're very focused and you do what you're trained to do and what the shot is, and don't, when Chuck Norris was doing the Octagon, he knocked out 2 stunt guys, because Chuck's the real deal, by the way. But it's not because Chuck did it. It's because the stunt guys walked in on it and got too close to him instead of hitting their mark and got knocked out. And Chuck feels bad, but what are you supposed to do? I mean, it's unlikely. Different, though, is Steven Seagal. Stunt guys hate him because he hurts a lot of guys because he just goes for it. And that's not appropriate because, it's a job and everybody wants to go home.
Gotcha.
I've heard that before. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I've heard that before. Yeah. I'm amazed at how many people it takes to make a movie. Not only make a movie, but to shoot a scene.
Oh yeah.
I used to be a firefighter. They'd have us on a scene of one of the movies. Was that? Man, I can't remember that. Enemy of the State.
Oh yeah.
And there's a scene where a guy's on a bicycle going down under DuPont Circle, and they shot that. It was this quick in the movie, but they shot that thing like 15 or 16 times.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just amazed. So everybody sees glitz and glamour, but how much of it is just waiting and just waiting for your opportunity to get there? And you have to be ready when they call action. You got to be ready. So you have to be prepared, of course. But most of your day is waiting. If you're on the call sheet, I think, right?
Yep.
You're on the call sheet, so you know you're going to have action that day. But it could be a 15, 16-hour day before you get to do your 3-4 minutes, your 30 seconds in the movie, 3-4 minutes.
Yeah.
Actually, performing this thing.
Well, because I worked in the stunt unit for Dukes of Hazzard.
Okay.
And it was #1 for 6 years. That show. It's like watching Fast and the Furious. It's like unwatchable, but people loved it, and everybody wanted to come to the set. Oh my God! I go, you don't understand. It's not what you think. Well, they would get there. We'd have like 6 hours to set up a jump.
Right.
The General Lee would go through the air. It takes about 20 seconds. It'd crash. By the way, it's never drivable. Right. There was a car carrier that had like 30 General Lees and 50 cars, right? And then it would be over, and then it would be another 6 hours of setup. And people go, oh my God, I'm bored out of my brain. I go, I'm trying to tell you is that the most exciting day in your life is the first day in the movie industry. The most boring is the second day and every day that follows.
Yeah.
It's a lot of hurry up and wait. I mean, even as an actor, when I was doing the movie Perfect with Jamie Lee and John Curtis, Jamie Lee Curtis and John Travolta.
John Travolta, right.
Because in those days, John and I looked so much alike, and I know his brothers and his sisters and everything. Well, the cinematographer, he's the guy who shot all the Godfather movies. His name's Gordon Willis. Legendary, right? Well, he'd look through the eyepiece and he goes, Kurek, you look too much like John. It's distracting. Go work on your tan. And I go, but I have dialogue here. And he goes, you learn his dialogue. And so I spent 4 months on a movie.
Wow.
Where basically I'm the highest paid extra in the history of the movie industry. Luckily, they kept me under contract, but I spent more time in the gym working out than I did on camera. And I go, why don't you guys just let me stay home and just call me if you need me? And they go, you're under contract. We want you on this set in case we want you.
On the set, yeah.
So I get there and I spend the whole day and not shoot one frame of film.
Wow.
First 4 months.
So when you say you've done it all, especially a lot anyway, behind the camera, is it do you do any editing? I've heard editing a film is tougher than it looks. I guess it's easier in the digital age, but I can only imagine how tough that must have been before you can do it digitally in the digital age. Excuse me. Tell me about that. Have you edited films as well?
No, I've never edited. I've never done hair.
Okay.
I've never done makeup. But I've done like lighting. I've worked with special effects teams. I've worked with set dressing. Like I said, the assistant to a director for 13 years. So I've been in the editing room with the director.
So you've seen it.
Now, yeah, I've watched it. And in those days, they had to literally cut film
Right.
and tape it together. Now it's just digital. Nowadays, they even have an editor a lot of times on set in a trailer that's editing as you're shooting. And so by lunchtime, you can already be watching what was shot. And because this way it saves you from having to come back to location and reshoot that stuff, is they can already go, nope, we didn't get that. We need that shot again. So the digital age, and also, the Panavision camera was $1 million and a lens could be $250,000. So renting them was expensive, but also the film really has silver on it, silver nitrate. So that film was super expensive and a big part of the budget. Now it's an SD card where you can have 10 cameras running now,
Right.
because you couldn't, to have a second camera on set was really expensive. And so you can get all your coverage and all your angles and stuff in one shot. So films move faster. And so I'm having to learn and adjust all this stuff because I'm directing a film. Luckily, the cinematographer, his name's Chemo. He's actually in my book. He took the photo for the cover of my book. Well, he's the cinematographer. I've done over 100 films with Chemo. He's an amazing cinematographer. Debbie, the makeup artist, she's 5 times Emmy winning, 2 times Academy Award nominated. So I have really top people around me that make my job easier, and the producers and I will find a great editor again that I think we're gonna have right on the set. But I'm gonna have to be in the editing bay for the first time for the entire film and learn some new skill sets. But as I always tell people, that if you have the right mindset and you develop new skill sets and you follow through on that, you can literally do anything you want in this lifetime.
So
and be great at it.
The writing and everything, I mean, there's not a lot of improvisation. I mean, this is like the words are on the sheet of paper, on the script. Read the script the way it's supposed to be read, correct? So I mean, to be able to write a script for a movie, that's because you have to put everything that people are doing on paper, which the little things, scratches his head, moves his glasses. I mean, like, how long did it take you to get used to that as an actor coming in? I mean, you're professionally trained, I get it, but does it ever really like, hey, we can do this another way, or hey, I wouldn't do that? Have you had that experience?
Well, the moving of the glasses and scratching the head, that probably wouldn't be in the script unless there was a specific reason for that. Like, Clark Kent taking off his glasses. To Superman. The actors are going to discover that. The best directors I've worked with and that I've enjoyed working with are the ones that have the script and then, get the actors to go, okay, as the character, how would you say that? How would you do that? And so it becomes this collaboration between the two. I did a movie called The Ryan White Story, and you guys may remember that. Ryan was a kid with AIDS who got it from a blood product that his mom had to give him because he was a hemophiliac. Well, we had Ryan on the set, and the director made sure he was there, and the director would say, Ryan, what was it really like in this situation, and what was it like in the hospital? And so it was real. And Ryan even is in the movie. He doesn't play himself. He plays a friend of his that he met in the hospital who was also dying of AIDS. He did an amazing job. Ryan and I became great friends on the show, and he, in his autobiography before he died, he wrote a whole chapter about me and my experience with him. But what a great kid. To watch him, though, be able to tell the truth, because the media was so cruel to that kid when he first got the AIDS until the celebrities got behind him.
Right.
And then all of a sudden now, they love him.
The movement started, right.
He never forgot what it was like to be mistreated by those people. So to be able to do that. Other shows I've been on, they're very strict on the script. You go to get off at one word and they're in your face. I personally, as an actor, don't like that because I think it stifles your creativity. But with my actors, I'm going to ask them to do multiple takes. and say, okay, give me another interpretation of it, because that gives you choice.
Right.
And you can see things that you might have not seen in your mind when you're writing the script, or even when you first came up with the idea, is that they can come up with something better. But as you write the script, the best thing to do is, I find, let the characters come to life, because they'll tell you what they want to say. They'll tell you where they want to go. And my job's then just to type it and put it on paper.
Okay.
That's what the script is. But if you
Right.
try to do it otherwise, I think every character sounds like you.
Right.
But if you really understand your characters, now mine's based on it's a real story,
What you're saying.
but I go back and I remember what Mike was like, and how he said things to me, and how Jeff said stuff to me, and those things. And so I'm on the 10th rewrite right now, because Stallone always taught me, get it down on paper, and then the magic comes in the rewrites.
Okay.
Wow. So now, so you said the helicopter crash, and we're going there, was life changing. So what
Absolutely.
happened after that? What was the moves? So did you step away from the studios and all of that and go into something else? So what was the move?
No, well, what I stepped into is putting 5.5 grams of cocaine at my nose every night, and having a
Okay.
357 Smith & Wesson pistol in my mouth every night, and smoking cigarettes and drinking booze. And I mean, I wasn't partying, gentlemen. I was just trying to kill myself. Thank God I'm not a success at everything in life.
Right.
But I can still tell you to this day, 35 years later, that I can taste gunmetal and cleaning solvent and gunpowder, from having a gun in my mouth every night. I still worked. I was clean and sober when I was on the set, but every night, because of the nightmares and flashbacks that I was going through. And as you guys I'll send you copies of my book, and you can read it. You'll see that when Mike died, it wasn't the end. He spent 2 more years visiting, and I wasn't the only person seeing him. I just saw him more than anybody else. And it was, you have survivor guilt.
Yes.
Why did I live?
Why did I live? Right.
Why didn't I stay in like a hero? Instead, I died like a coward. I mean, I lived like a coward. And, it's really inappropriate thinking. But when you're caught up in the drama, it keeps you stuck in the story. And then one day I woke up and I asked a really crazy question, and that is, what was great about the helicopter crash? And now I know it sounds weird, but I was already into personal development and all the stuff that I do now. I just obviously wasn't using it during the dark period, and it kind of came back up in my mind. And the first answer is that, well, at least Mike died in my arms, not in a stranger's arms, and that at least he was with somebody who loved him, and that I know care for all the guys who died. Everybody was trying to save them, that nobody was abandoned, or, that I saved 2 people's lives that day. I just, when you caught up in your drama, you forget about the good stuff. Also, is the craziest one is I remembered is I lived.
Right.
And now you might want to go do something with it. That I have a purpose. Don't blow it feeling bad for the rest of life. And so that day I unscrewed a broom pole out of a broom, went in my backyard in California, cut a line in the sand, and I go, once I step over this line, I'm done. I am done. I gave up cocaine. I gave up cigarettes. I gave up alcohol abuse. I gave all my guns away. Not that just people wandering down the street. I gave them.
I understand. Yeah.
But I literally gave it all up in one day. And my life today is a byproduct of that one decision. Because once we decide, that's when instant change happens. But most people are, it took me a long time to quit smoking. Well, actually, it didn't. It took you a long time to make a decision that you won't touch another cigarette. Most people are shoulding, I should quit. I should do this. I should. Most people wind up shoulding all over themselves. They, should's never been powerful enough. So when you make it a must, or when you go, I'm done being fat. I'm done being poor. I'm done being lonely. I'm done being depressed. I'm done being abused. You got to get to that place. Otherwise, you're complacent and you're accepting it. Yeah. And so that's what changed my life. And then, I was doing a seminar in a speaking engagement in Georgia, and for a whole town's youth. And I really helped them change their lives. Well, while I was out of town, I got called for the Mighty Ducks Part 4. Now, I don't even think it ever came out, but I was supposed to play the lead bad guy and they were expecting me on the set. Now, just because I auditioned doesn't mean I took the job.
Mm.
But the first message on my answering machine was, "Congratulations, you got the job. We'll see you tomorrow." I didn't even check my messages for like 4 days because I'm out of town. The 40th message was, "You garbage piece of blah blah blah, you'll never work again." First thing I felt was anxiety and stress over, oh my God. But then I thought, which one of these two things would I rather do? Help people change their lives, or some stupid movie for a character that who cares? And I realized that this is really what I do. So that's why I asked, why'd you ever become an actor, Kurek? And I thought, well, I thought if I got famous, somebody would want to hear me speak. But when you play bad guys, nobody really wants to hear.
Just be
And
bad.
so that's when I let go of the movie industry and I just focused on what I do. And my career went through the roof because I wasn't dual focused.
Mm. All right. So now, so is that what you're doing now? So you're more like a, I would say, a life coach or motivational coach, or what is it that you, or what would you call yourself, or what you're doing?
Well, the neat thing about that is they've coined me with the term the transformer. And no, I don't turn into a robot.
Mhm.
It's because, transformation, if you ever see ATION at the end of a word, it means the experience of.
Okay.
Trans means to go beyond. Form represents what you have now. So the form of your finances, the form of your relationship, the form of your physical body. So transformation means the experience to go beyond what you have right now. That's what I help people do. So 2 years ago, I helped a gentleman cure himself of Tourette syndrome. I've helped people cure themselves of cancer. I've helped people who were told it's impossible to have children. Every one of them all have children now. Every athlete, every sports team I work with have won. I took the women's beach volleyball team here in Australia to win the gold medals at the Olympics. I've football teams, rowing teams, golf. I don't even play the sport most of the time, but I don't need to. Businesses, take them to crazy heights, because the neat thing is it's all scientific. It's all based on the laws of cause and effect, that if you do certain actions, you get certain results. So motivation to me is kind of fluffy because you get all pumped up and then you go home and you deflate. People
Right.
get self-motivated when they learn how to do it, but also my job is to hold them accountable to make sure that they do those things until it becomes a habit.
Mm. How long
Oh
does it
wow.
take to develop a habit? Is it 30 days, like they say, or 21 days, or
21 days. Yeah. Maxwell Maltz, who wrote
21 days?
Psycho-Cybernetics,
Right. Right.
said it's 21 days. I I work with people usually for a year, and the
Hmm.
reason being is because as they start doing this, the old habit,
Right.
still has a gravitational pull to it. So if you keep people going, pretty soon they establish that as their habit.
Right.
But also there's going to be fluctuations along the
Sure.
way that you also have to deal with. But by the end of a year, it's not about just what we do in a year together. It's
Mhm.
what continues to happen for the rest of their life, and it's mind blowing.
So you got to be able to sustain it, and you really don't know if you're good at it until you get tried. Right. You need to be tested.
Yeah,
So
and
yeah, tempted and all that good stuff.
it's funny that you say that. Is people, they look at me in the helicopter crash and
Hmm.
everything I have and what I've done and I've accomplished. They think I've lived like 15 lifetimes because I've done so many things. And they go, well, everything works out for you, Kurek. And I'm like, man,
Mm.
look, I've been married 3 times. Two of my wives have cheated with friends of mine. One of them got pregnant from my
Wow.
best friend. And they go, well, how do you know it wasn't yours? Well, first you have to be having sex with her for that to happen.
Mhm.
Um, you
That is
know,
part of it. That is part
Yeah,
of it.
that's a major part. That's a major
but
little
it's life.
technical. Yeah.
And there is no get out of jail free card, that.
Right.
But it's the challenges of our life that give our life value. It forces you
Right.
into reinventing yourself. It forces you to grow.
Right.
And it's a spirit. We came down here to experience all of life, not just the fluffy, happy bits.
Right.
That's why you go to movies and they scare the daylights out of you. They depress you, or they make you cry and laugh.
Hmm.
As the spiritual being, we want to feel it. We want
Right.
to. That's the human part of us. Is we feel. We're feeling creatures.
Hmm.
We want to feel it. My dad's funeral. I'm my dad's only child. My mom raised 7. She was just a lot more friendly. And
Hmm.
my dad, he was in the Air Force when he was younger, so they gave him the honor guard and they gave me the flag and all that stuff. And then
Hmm.
I'm in the room when they closed the coffin on him. Of course, I cried. It's my dad.
Mm.
if I didn't cry, I'd be worried,
Right.
because I cry because I love them. And I'm, so then I came out. My stepmom was too distraught, but my mom was there. And I said, Mom, okay, let's go out and have some lunch, have a glass of wine, have some fun.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, Kurek, your dad just died. And I said, Dad's going to be dead forever.
Yes.
We're not. We might
Yes.
want to enjoy time now. And she goes, oh, good point. Well,
Yes.
now my mom's passed on, but my mom on her dying words said, have babies. I'm like, now, Mom, you got to bother me again on this? And she said, I've always wanted to meet your kids, Kurek. You've always had this amazing energy of yours since you were born. I said, Mom, this time in the hospital with you made me ready. She goes, then I want to hear you say the words, I promise, because Kurek, when you use those words, you always keep your promise.
My man.
And I go, oh, man, checkmate. She's got me, And so I said, I promise, Mom, and I love you. And she goes, great. Now I want you to leave because I don't want you here.
Wow.
I go, okay. And my mom closed her eyes, never gained consciousness, got to Australia, found out she died. And 2 weeks later, got my wife pregnant. One try, because the thing is, don't piss off your mom.
How about that?
She'll come back, man. She'll smack me around again. So,
yeah.
But that's my son, who's now 14 years old and 13 years old. And I'm so grateful again that my mom held me to that standard and made me promise.
Wow.
So everybody that thinks you have it all figured out just hasn't figured out that you just look at it a different way. It's a different perspective.
Yeah, we've all figured out life's not fair.
No,
it never has been fair. It's a waste of time.
Yes.
Complaining that it's not fair.
Yes.
It doesn't turn out the way that it should. It turns out the way that it does. Now it comes down to, what do you do with that creates the experience you get?
What are you going to do about it? There you go. So, okay, so that we can stipulate that it's not fair, right? It's kicking you in the behind. But what are you going to do about it? And that part right there, that separates you, or the I'm not going to say the winners, but the people who make the best of it from the people who make the worst of it. So
it's what Rocky says. It doesn't matter how hard you hit; it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. That's the winning is done. I spent way too much time with them.
Yeah. But now, Kirk, did you go to school, or was this just from the experiences of your life that you gained this motivation, or this mindset? Was this just based off of your life experiences that gave you that?
I graduated high school, but school for me was a great place to meet girls and hang out with your friends. Life teaches you the best lessons. It's just that I have that mindset that I study successful people in all areas, whether it's relationships, health and fitness, wealth. And then I study unsuccessful people, and you see that there's two different patterns going on. If you don't like the situation you're in, well, find somebody who has the results you have, start doing what they do, and you get those results. It's not rocket science. A lot of people say it can't be that simple. It actually is. See, in the universe, creation comes easily. Like, the sex to have a baby is supposed to be fun. Now, if we thought about, why would the universe give us a thing called orgasm? It doesn't have anything to do with procreation.
That's true.
Well, that's because it makes it so attractive that we want to do it, and it keeps the species going. It's the most powerful force in the human psyche is sex. But if you look at the animal kingdom, every animal is trying to get with a partner. It's set up that way to keep the universe going. And then once the sperm's in there, nobody's got to steer the sperm to the egg. It knows exactly how to do it. Mom doesn't have to find legs and eyeballs and spleen. It automatically happens. I get she's uncomfortable, but the baby's coming out whether you know how to have birth or not.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
So everything in the universe, like, I have a farm. I have 14 acres. I can tell you that you can weed whack this thing down and mow it down to the dirt, and the weeds will come back with a fury, right? So creation happens easily. Only mankind has made this hard. The hardest thing we have to do is have new original thought that focuses you on what you want instead of paying attention to where you are now. Like, if you keep looking at your empty bank account, it's going to stay empty. If you keep looking at how life is rough, it's going to be rough.
Yes.
All great achievers are visionaries. And if you ever read their stories, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, I've been so honored that I shared the stage with him in Sydney. Sly found out that I was going to do it, has me come back to his restaurant in Beverly Hills, and he's got Arnold Schwarzenegger waiting for me at the table to have breakfast with him. What a wonderful man. But that man, when he was in Austria after 2 world wars that Germany lost,
Yeah.
terrible. He's got pictures of bodybuilders on his wall. His mom called the priest thinking, this guy's a little Looney Tunes. My son's a little fruity. He's got oiled up, almost naked men on his walls.
Yeah.
But he was visualizing because he saw a gentleman, a British bodybuilder who became Hercules and said, that's my path. And he followed him, became the best bodybuilder, became the movie star, became the governor. And he said to me at the table, he said, Kurek, the biggest misconception about me is that I'm self-made. He said, I've had help every step of the way. And the only reason I got help was I asked for it.
There you
He
go.
said, only poor people try to do it by themselves.
Yeah.
Wow.
Relationships run the world. That's what it
But
is.
just, I remember all those things that people like that say to me. And when I study them, is I'm always looking for what is the key to success, the key to make yourself better, the key to achieve your goals. And if you just listen to people, if you read their biographies or biographies, it's in there. You just have to look for it. If you know, and you'll see, wait a minute, their stories are different, but the strategies are exactly the same. And it's not that hard, but you do have to do it, and you have to do it consistently until it becomes your habit. And success is easy when you make being successful your habit.
You make it your habit.
So now, Kirk, you have a book. Now, what's the name of the book?
Here's some cheap promotion. It's called How Would Love Respond? I'll be more than happy to send you gentlemen a copy, or if you want the audio book, I'll send it to you. It's been a #1 bestseller since 2008. It was released and took #1 on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles. I hit 15 bestsellers lists within 4 hours of its release. Then I re-released it 30 days later, and it hit another 10 bestsellers list because I figured if people didn't see the first release, nobody would know it came out before, and I re-released it. And like I said, I'm very honored that it's now being turned into a movie, which I was blown out of the water when I was approached to do it. And I have a good feeling that it's going to be winning some Academy Awards and film festivals. It's just, everybody reads the script. Man, what a ride. I cried like 4 times and then jumped out of my seat like Rocky at the end of it. It's unbelievable where that thing takes you. So, and that's what I want. It's not about being, I don't really want to be a movie director. It's not where I'm going. It's that, my intention is, like the book, is that people see themselves in it and that they can change. Because, gentlemen, I guess we all can be truthful, is that if you look at the world right now, it needs some help. And, whoever it is, they've done a good job of trying to segregate all of us. That's right out of The Art of Wars, divide and conquer. But if we unify, if you look at September 11th, New Yorkers used to have really bad attitudes. You didn't order a pizza in New York, you ordered a friggin' pizza or a friggin' taxi. But after September 11th, with terrorists, they want to terrorize you. They want us to be just like them. They want us to go after revenge, but it actually backfired because it made New Yorkers warmer and friendlier, because they realized, man, at any moment it can be over. And you go to New York and taxi drivers were polite and wonderful to you, and restaurants, and went over. So I just think we need to bring it back there. And to me, that's how love responds. Is the Bible says, if you do not know love, you do not know God, because God is love. I'm not religious, by the way. My mom was Jewish. My dad was Christian. I was just confused. What are these people doing together? The thing, though, is that love is the most powerful force in the universe. And when we identify ourselves as love, because I am love, it connects you with the source, and you respond differently to everything in life. So Morihei Ueshiba, who is the founder of Aikido, which is it's a martial art. I means to be in harmony. Ki is energy. Do is the way of the path. He said that, anybody can fight, but mastery is turning your enemies into your allies.
Right.
That's the power, that, if you get in combat, you've already lost because somebody sucked you into combat.
How about that?
But if you can win those people over, so you look at Nelson Mandela, he's locked up for 27 years.
Yes.
He gets out, becomes the president of his country. And guess what? Some of his prison guards become cabinet members because he won those people over to become his most loyal supporters.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
That's power.
That's power.
And I think, your guys' show and who you gentlemen are and us all coming together and getting the word out there. And I love, that's why when I, saw your podcast and I put my name in the hat for you guys, it's because you guys are out there and your challenge. I love that. Listen to other people's shows and, not saying I'm the man, but man, there's other people who got gifts out there and spreading the word is they may have bigger weapons than we do, but we got mass.
Yes.
And mass always wins, and light will always take over the darkness.
Take over darkness, 100%.
Yep.
Let me say this, Kurek. I'm looking at your audiobook, which I'm an audiobook guy, so I just ordered it. And I appreciate that, but that's my way of supporting you. So thank you for that. Thank you for coming on. I love the fact that you narrated your book. So was there ever a doubt? I always like to ask authors this because some people write their books and send it to Amazon and it's out in the universe. And some people will say, okay, let me do the audio version, but then they insist that they narrate their book. But I think as an audiobook listener, I really appreciate a narration by the author because I'm really getting you. I feel like I'm sitting down with you in your case for 13 hours. I get to hear you out. So I'm looking forward to it. Did you ever have to second guess yourself about should you do an audiobook?
Well, I'll tell you, the funny thing is that because my book was originally published by publishers in the States, and then they sold the audio rights to a different publisher.
Okay.
And so the guy called me up and they said, well, we're going to get an actor to read it. And I go, I am an actor. And nobody reads my book but me. And they go, but you live in Australia. And I go, well, that's what plane tickets are for.
There you go.
So I did it. Then after 10 years, the option that they have on the contract expires. So I wanted my book back. Plus I bought the rights back for the written book from the publishers because you're doing all the work. They're making all the money. So I bought the rights back from them, republished the book. Then the audio company wanted $30,000 for the audio file of me reading my book. I go, I'll just read it again. But after all those years, I'm better at it, and I know
right.
So the version that you're listening to, it's way better. And I will tell you that both times during the helicopter crash part of it, the engineers had to leave the room. They go, I need a break, man. You're there, man. Like, it's intense. But like you said, sir, is that I wanted people to get my interpretation of the book. I wanted to get my feel. And that's the only person who can do that is me. And that's why I did step up to the plate, even though I did have a writer and director on for the movie. Producers kept insisting, Kurek, it's got to be true to your book, man. Like the way you write and your experience. And then finally I go, you know what? I had to tell the writer director, sorry, bro, I got to step up to the plate. Now it's time for me to learn some new skill sets. And that's the same thing with the audiobook, is I just had to learn what it takes to do it and then go do it. Because the funny thing is when you hold yourself to that standard, it comes out of you. But if you keep saying, I can't do it, well, you're going to prove yourself correct.
How did you come up with the title?
The title came to me when I was coaching somebody. And I was using some references about that in the Bible, it says, if you do not know love, you do not know God, because God is love. That it says Jesus said it's not a sin to consider yourself one with and equal to God. Mary Magdalene in her scriptures doesn't refer to Jesus as the Messiah. She calls him the love, the most powerful force in the universe. And as a man thinketh in his heart of hearts, so is he. That would be your identity. Your most powerful thought is who you say you are, because it creates your beliefs, your behaviors, your actions, your results. So I said to him, so if you identified yourself as love, how would you respond differently to these people in your life that you're saying are the cause of your problems?
Wow.
And as soon as I said it, I go, oh my God, I got to write this as a book, because that's the most powerful question. Because the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your communication, and the quality of your communication is determined by the quality of questions that we ask. Ask and it will be given. Ask crappy questions, you get crappy answers.
Right.
Ask quality questions, you get quality answers. Ask strategic questions, you get strategies.
Right.
And so I'd like to tell you what an amazing writer I am, but I have to tell you is that once I came up with the question, the book kind of wrote itself. I was just the guy behind the keys pushing the keyboard.
Okay.
I thought it was going to take me 4 months to write, because I do over 150 presentations a year, but I found out very quickly the spoken word and the written word aren't the same thing. As a speaker, you're pausing and tonality, gestures. Well, I tried leave a long blank space, and the editor goes, "What's that?" I go, "Dramatic pause." And she goes, "You're an idiot." Or I did comma. What's that? Dramatic pause.
Oh,
no. Then with writing the script, now I have to go from writing a book, which is descriptive, to a movie that's cinematic.
Right.
So it's a new writing style. So I just had to learn again some new strategies to put that into play. But the title, I knew it, and that's why I've never written another book since How Would Love Respond, because I don't want to write a sequel, because everybody reads it, they go, that pound for pound is the best personal development book I've ever read. It's actually all in there. So I have another book I'm writing. You'll see it above my door. It's called The Mystical Mentor. But this one is and it's being made into a movie as well. But it's a fictional tale. And so it's completely different from How Would Love Respond, because I don't want to do anything that comes close to diluting the power of How Would Love Respond.
Right.
So you've had one book that's being made into a movie, another book on its way that's going to be made into a movie. How hard is it? I mean, you hear people all the time saying they're trying to get their movies made. So what's your secret sauce? How did you pull that off? Is it because you're in the industry, or how does that work?
I'm actually not in the industry. You know, it's like
we're in the industry.
The movie industry is like the mafia. You know, I got out, now they're dragging me back. But the amazingly is there's just through some connections, I met this producer, and we were talking about a podcast that, you know, me doing it, and, you know, we were talking about it. So I sent her the audiobook of How Would Love Respond, just to show her what I do, you know, so she got a feel for me. And she came back and she goes, "Oh my God, we got to do this first. It's such a clear vision, you know, oh my God," you know. And she said, "The way you write," she said, "I turn down 100 scripts a month because people just don't know how to write characters, you know how to write relationships. Man, your writing style." And then I talked to her about this other book, and so they packaged it as a 2-picture movie deal and want me to direct both of them. And we just got funding, so $20 million for the first movie. And you know, it's funny, in Hollywood, I used to fight tooth and nail to get stuff done, and you know, went nowhere with it fast. And now it comes easy. But there it is again, is, you know, when you get in the flow, when you get on the frequency, stuff starts showing up.
So, Kurt, I'm going to ask you, social media wise, what I know I met you through Facebook. So are you on any other social media networks?
I'm on all of them, sir. You know, I kind of despise social media as far as interacting with it too much. I remember when social media was, a bunch of people got together and said nice things to each other. Now it's like a platform, and you don't even know it's real anymore. They're making all kinds of stuff up. They're certainly uses and so Napoleon Hill, who wrote Think and Grow Rich,
yes,
he said you have to be the guardian at the gate of your mind to decipher what you allow in or not, because the wrong thoughts will create chaos and havoc to your life. And I'll tell you personally, is that if I scroll, I wind up getting angry. It starts to look like the world's going to hell in a handbasket. everything's going south. But because of the people that I interact with, and I work with a lot of youth, and you see these kids. My son, I just got a wonderful email from his teacher about how polite he is and how wonderful he is and how she's going through issues. And he comes up to her after class, ma'am, is there anything I can help you with? And then gives her a copy of my book. I didn't tell him he did it.
There you go.
Well, I look at the people that I associate with, and I go like the young people, and I go, man, if the world's in their hands, we're in great shape. It's just that news travels faster and it's more prevalent. It's more, it's in your pocket now.
Yes,
when
sir.
we were kids, you had to wait till 6 o'clock at night, and Walter Cronkite would actually read you the news. He didn't sensationalize it. He would just tell you what was going on.
But you could swear by it. You knew that what he said was actual and factual.
But it also, like Vietnam, it took a day or two to get the news to you. World War II, it took a month.
Yes.
Now it's just instantaneous. So social media I use for business. It's a great way to connect to people. I post, but I only post positive things to people because we're not part of the solution. We're part of the problem.
That's true.
And we already know what the problem is. So I don't need to be another person out there tooting the horn about how bad life is focus on the solution, focus on the connection, focus on the love. Some people, if you study the Bible, nothing changed in 2,000 years. Some people get it. Most people don't. You look at the Old Testament, New Testament, the Quran, there's only one person in all those books. That's Moses. Even Jesus talked about Moses. Jesus. He wasn't here yet. Moses is the only guy who actually sees God and talks to him. And when he asked God, God's saying, you got to spread the word. You got to do this, and he says, okay, God, what's your name so I can spread it? God goes, I
am that I am.
Very powerful. It's very powerful. And you got to be careful who you teach this to. And then he says, I am who I am. There's right there. It's who we say we are.
Right.
That's because
that's it.
That we were born in the image of God. We're created in the image of God. Well, that means God, he sees creators. We're creators. So everything I do is about creating that essence of that we're going to get back together. We're going to, this cycle that evil starts taking over and good, it's always going to be a ebby flow, but it keeps us on our toes. It keeps us working, I look at the youth of today and I go, world's in great shape. Sure, a couple kids shoe up at school, but there's thousands who didn't. Why don't we talk about that story? But that doesn't have any drama in it. And people love their drama. It's like reality TV, like God forbid.
Nothing more scripted than reality TV, right?
Exactly. And, let's train our young women to have role models like the Kardashians. Well, first, it was their dad who was friends with Nicole Simpson, who, after OJ killed her, got OJ off. But then he got some horrific cancer. And he said, this is payback for what I did. I did something evil. And I will pay for this forever. That's who we're in front of our girls. But it's always going to be there. Instead of fighting that, because if you fight it, you give it energy, you're giving it focus. Instead, focus on what you want, and that will expand. And that's all I do. So that's what I use social media for.
Yeah, I got you. Thank you. Look, hey, Kurt, we're almost out of time, but it was one thing I heard I want you to explain because I've never heard of anyone who's been through it. But I heard that you was a firewalker.
Oh no, I still am.
Oh, okay. Well, tell me about that.
I'm the world record holder. I did 266 feet of 1,200 degree coals in my bare feet. I did that in 1998 in here in Brisbane. And the funny thing is, in November 22nd, it turned out to be Thanksgiving that year, right? And there's no Thanksgiving here in Australia. And so, but I had did a seminar, a program. I took 1,200 people firewalking on about 15 feet of fire. And then I was going to break the world's record to show people that you can do anything that you put your mind to and you hold your focus with, because we have so much input that, you gotta shut down what you're getting in here and focus on your goals and dreams. and that's the only difference between the shorter firewalk and the longer firewalk. But I would tell you that my mom was a bad alcoholic. My mom used to drink a half a gallon of scotch or vodka every night. And
Wow.
she had a violent streak. I watched my mom knock out 2 Chicago police officers, one hit, and I mean, pop, pop. And we're cheering around, of course, because, you know, you knock anybody knocking out a cop, you know, in those days. But not that I'm condoning that,
I
by the way.
understand. We understand
Yeah.
it's different time. We understand 100%.
And it's your
Chicago,
mom,
different
you know.
time, and it's your
Yeah,
mom, and it's a good thing you had that son of yours too, because she
yeah. And
threatened you.
so my mom, I said to her, I said, Mom, I'm doing a program in Chicago. I'd love to have you come. I want to
Mhm.
warn you that there's a firewalk involved. Now, you don't have to firewalk, and you will. But, Mom, alcohol comes out of your pores when you sweat, and it's
Right,
flammable, and you
right.
might burst into flames. And so my mom doesn't have a drink leading up to the program. She firewalks and gave up alcohol on the spot. She said, if I can do this that I thought was impossible, giving up alcohol is easy. And my mom was clean and sober for the next 18 years of her life until she passed away. That's the power of the firewalk.
Now,
Oh
this
wow.
is a tongue-in-cheek kind of question, but is it a fire walk? Because I'm thinking a fire run. I'm
No, no,
thinking I'm,
no.
I'm thinking I'm running
Walk.
across the East Coast. It's really a walk.
Yeah, well, you know,
Wow.
the world record is almost the length of a football field. So that would be 300 feet. I did 266 feet. Um, but it was, you know, it was walking, and it
Wow.
took me over a minute to walk. I mean, if you just think about walking down the
Yeah,
sideline
a
of a
minute.
football field, how long that would take, because fire running creates a thing called fire tripping, and that
Right.
creates a thing called weenie roast. You don't want that thing. So, you know, it's about anybody can teach you how to avoid pain. It's about how do you be, because universe means the oneness.
Hmm.
Everything's the same. It's all energy. We're all in the same energy. There's no different energy. Religion says that God is omnipresent. God's equal
Hmm.
everywhere all at the same time. So they're really saying the same thing. Is that fire and us, the primal part of who we are, it's a spark. It's energy. So when you become one with the source, right? Then fire can't burn you. Fire can't burn fire. And when I was in the helicopter wreck pulling Mike out, Stallone showed me a photograph that he got from Entertainment Tonight that night, that day, where I'm carrying Mike out of the burning helicopter, and it's fully engulfed. And there's like a 6-inch force field around me, and I didn't have a hair burned off me. And I was in the middle of a furnace, and you couldn't breathe, you couldn't see. And Mike is on fire as I'm carrying him out, and they hit him with fire extinguishers and stuff. And I didn't have a hair burned off me because you know. And then I lifted the helicopter off of the cameraman who was crushed underneath it by myself, and moved it a few inches, and it shifted. But man, when you get that focus, it's crazy what you can do. And we've heard the stories of women who've lifted cars off their children, and soldiers who've taken bullet rounds and still saved their platoon, because that's the power of love. It's unstoppable.
Yeah.
So the firewalk is really about learning your own self-love, because when you have self-love, God's love, now you're one with the source. Every issue we have in this lifetime, gentlemen, is a self-love issue. Because if you really love yourself, would you allow yourself to be poor or abused or lonely or depressed or fat or whatever, unhealthy, whatever it is? That's not how love responds. Love would want you to have everything you want, and then it would want everybody else to have what it wants too, because that's abundance.
Mm. Wow. All right. So look, Kurt, it was definitely a true pleasure to have you on the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. I believe Boss B is back there. If she is, she can come up on on the screen. If she's back there, I still don't have control. So if she's there, she go. Here come Boss B. She's gonna give us our little closing announcements. All right, Boss B, how we do today?
Back again. Okay, but before we wrap up, I just want to give out my shout outs. You know, we get flowers here. Miss Patty Friend was here first thing. Miss Sharon, Miss Nisi, and Frederick Jackson were in here. And I just want y'all to know that y'all make this show because of you. Big Jack Storytime has just hit and crossed over 175,000 views and 2,600 subscribers. We are on a roll, people.
All
Thank you
right.
so
Yeah.
very
All right.
much.
Yeah.
Right.
And Mr. Kirk, thank you so very much. Your story is amazing.
Wow.
I can't
Wow.
wait to read the book myself. as well.
If
So
you send me an email, I'll send you a hard copy, or I'll send you the audiobook. It'd be my honor.
absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank
Well,
you.
if you can send us an autograph copy, if you don't mind, Mr. Kirk, we're gonna offer that as whoever gets on that wheel and we
Yes,
pull that name off, they'll get an autograph copy of Kirk's book there. So there you go, right there.
I'll
there
send you
you
guys a
go.
few copies that you can give away, and then I'll send copies to you
I
guys.
appreciate it and thank you.
Thank
Awesome.
you, sir.
So
Wow.
everyone out there, we thank you for tuning in with us on the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. We have proved we are stronger together. Now, if each one could just reach one, we can all grow and glow. But until next time, we're going to ask you, hey, Kurt, before you go, don't go. We're going to ask you to stay behind. We're going to close this show out, but we're going to ask you all to stay blessed, stay sharp, and we'll see you next time on the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. Thank you.
Right.